What's up, weirdos? Shadetree Surgeon here on the FXR, even though there's a much nicer motorcycle to ride parked right next to it. That video probably is coming out before this one, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Long live the king, baby. But today is FXR day. Oh, let's get some go juice, because even though the FXR has a normal sized gas tank, it gets terrible fuel mileage. I've heard that these S&Ss actually get pretty bad gas mileage, so I might actually switch to Electron. And if I switch to Electron, it'll be the nicest thing on this motorcycle. But today is not about carburetors. Today is not about going. Today is about stopping. Now, I'll tell you, the FXR doesn't go very fast. I mean, it goes. Sort of. I mean, it resembles acceleration. It just sort of vibrates at a high enough frequency that it moves forward. Anyway, today's not about going. Today's about stopping. Today, we're doing something about this absolutely awful front brake. Head to the Ride Factory right now. I'll tell you more when we get there. What's up, Mikey? All right, just posting the Daily Potato here to Instagram. Up at the Ride Factory. Let's do something about these brakes. All right, so we're here in the Ride Factory, and this is actually a pretty easy front brake upgrade that anybody can do, or you can come up here and have the Ride Factory do it for you, to any pre-1999 narrow glide front end. So basically what I'm gonna do is get rid of that single pop piston caliper that every 39mm pre-99 came with that is absolutely terrible, and replace it with this Tokiko caliper off an SV650. Now they put these on a lot more than just SV650s. I bought these for like 20 bucks on eBay, and then a rebuild kit was like another $10. So the investment for these, for a caliper that works a whole hell of a lot better than the stock Harley one, is very low. Like I said, just an all balls rebuild kit, like another 10 bucks. Literally, the investment is almost nothing. Now, this little bracket from Still Kickin' Moto is how we're gonna make it fit. And this was 80 bucks, but even with everything, we're still, our investment to make the front brakes better on the FXR, or you could do this on your Sportster, or you can do this on your early Dyna, any of those bikes. Our investment is very, very low. So he makes this bracket specifically for the pre-99 narrow glides. Now, if you have a post-99 39mm narrow glide, there's a lot more options, but pre-99, this is your guy, Still Kickin' Moto. He didn't pay me to say this. I bought this part full price. But so we will see how it works. I mean, I think it's gonna work. There's only one way to find out. I just watched a video on how to rebuild these Tokiko calipers, so we're gonna give that a whirl. And let's see if this ends in total disaster, or if the FXR is gonna get a little better binders in the front. Because right now, those front brakes have about as much feel as grabbing a block of wood. All right, so these things are definitely pretty crusty. I've never done this before, so we're gonna be learning how to do this together. And that is really gunked up in there. Luckily, the brake pads that came with this look like they're in okay shape, so I think I'm gonna be able to reuse them. I'll be real careful not to bend this guy because I do not have another one. All right, the way I've seen this done before is if somebody has this, they'll leave it attached to the bike to pump these out, but since this is off the bike, I'm just gonna put some air into that hole right there, and that should push the pistons out. But I guess I can just put the brake pad here to keep them from shooting out too. Yep, that works. All right, let's do this without losing a finger or losing these brake pads, or covering myself in whatever. Oh, that can. Those popped out pretty fast. Dang. Yeah, Mikey was right. Mikey goes, "Don't get your fingers in there, dude." Those popped right out. So definitely put something here, because if I didn't have something here to catch them, I feel like I probably could have damaged them pretty easily. Or lost a finger, yeah. Yeah, don't try to catch those with your hands, man. Pro tip. Ooh, gosh, that is gross, dude. Look how bad it is in here. That is real bad. I can't imagine. These are better than the calipers that are on the bike, but not right now, because this stuff in here is looking pretty foul. All right, I'm gonna use this pick. I'm gonna pull out these two seals in here before I take this thing over to the parts washer, but gotta be really careful not to score the inside of this, because any marring inside here is really gonna negatively affect the braking upgrade that I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to upgrade, not downgrade.
Man, that is really gunked up in there. Mikey says he's seen worse, and I believe him. Alright, I did my best in the parts washer to get that thing clean, but I really couldn't get inside those little tiny passages. So we put it in the carb cleaner dunk tank because that's what my man over here recommended, who has probably rebuilt hundreds and hundreds of Tokiko calipers. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the expert's advice, soak that thing, but we do, while it's soaking, have some other stuff to do to the FXR, so let's get on it. Alright, how's this for a score? Some new old stock in the original packaging from 1986, same year as the FXR, still in the Harley Davidson blister packaging. I need a taller sissy bar because if I want to be able to use a sissy bar bag, the sissy bar I have on there isn't quite tall enough to do it. And I specifically wanted this specific model because I ain't losing my Eagle and I want to be able to bolt it on right there. Oh, and by the way, this frame and motor's for sale if somebody wants a head start on a chopper project. If you want this Evo and this hardtail, come up to the Ride Factory with $2 grand and you're walking away with it. Be a pretty cool chopper if you ask me. All right, all the way from 1986 to be opened by me. I'm like releasing a disease. It's like, slow it down. The fucking, yeah. It's the curse of Imhotep.
Is this how the mummy started?
Oh, look at that, dude. The bolts have some like leftover Loctite on them all the way from 86. Something tells me that might not be good anymore. These things are, one is not quite like the other. So let's see if we can do something about it or not. Slight modifications were needed. So a vise and a hammer usually solves a lot of your problems or creates new ones. Let's see which one we've done today. Yeah, they're not even on either side. We're like, oh, we'll just knock around with a hammer. Mikey's over here shaking his head. Not exactly how they would do it. So if you bring your bike in to get a sissy bar put on, trust me, they're not going to be doing it like this. All right, you want to talk about something you don't see every day? The whole Brian and Mike are working on over here. A S&S X wedge. Yeah. Now that is looks like a pretty rare motor. All right, now that everything's looking newish and cleaner-ish, let's go ahead and reassemble everything. I'm gonna go ahead and put all these seals back in and do that with a little bit of brake fluid just so everything's lubricated. All right, we're gonna dab a little grease on there. Brian recommends this stuff from Worth because it does not swell rubber. And if Brian recommends it, I'm gonna do it. All right, well, that caliper is officially assembled. Let's see how this fits on here. Should be pretty self-explanatory, I would imagine. Did I rebuild the wrong caliper? No. Well, that would be something I would do. Can you go grab the other one? That's what I did, dude. You fucking kidding me? Wow. Well, it wouldn't be me unless I had to do it twice. I just literally spent all that time rebuilding the wrong caliper. At least I got it down now. So, of course, I'm having to do it twice. Now, while it is going to go a lot easier the second time around, because now I know what I'm doing, we still have to let those parts soak to get all the gunk out of the other brake caliper that I should have rebuilt. So, me and old Flip here are going to go next door to Tony's restaurant and grab some lunch. Funny enough, lived and worked in Ybor for this long. I've literally never stepped foot into Tony's restaurant. Neither's Flip. All right, so now I have the proper caliper put back together. Let's try this again. So this kit does come with its own hardware, luckily. All right, so in order to fit these in here, I found out that you actually do have to at least pull the axle part way out in order to get those Allen keys past the disc brake. So just if you're doing this, you are gonna have to do that, because unless you're gonna take a file to these holes in your disc. All right, let's go ahead and swap this over. You will have to use the metric style banjo bolt, of course, but luckily these came with one. Yeah, dude. Here we go, dude. Here we fucking go.
What is it? Like a quarter of an inch short.
What is it, the holes? No, the fucking brake line. All right, word to the wise. If you're doing this modification and your stock brake line is just long enough, you're gonna need one that is just a little bit longer, because this sits down a little bit farther, and I had to replace it because my stock brake line was literally like a quarter inch too short. In with the new and out with the old. We got a new brake line on there, new Tokiko, well, new to me and freshly rebuilt Tokiko caliper on here. Of course, we still have the same master cylinder, so that's kind of a bummer. But hopefully we'll be able to upgrade that too. It's just hard to find cheap, decent master cylinders that actually fit 1-inch bars. But all this aside, I still have to test ride the dang thing. I don't know if they actually stopped the bike yet, or if they stopped the bike any better than it stopped before. So let's go do that.
Everybody should have a ride factory in their town. And if you live in Tampa, you're fucking lucky, because there is one. See ya, Summer. This thing really is wild. The X-Wedge. Does SNS even make that thing anymore? I mean, this bike is not exactly my cup of tea. But that engine's really cool. All right, Flip, thanks for all the help, dude. I appreciate you greatly. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. Go ahead and leave him a comment. Tell him make a video already. Wearing that GoPro, does it ever get turned on? All right, let's see if this thing can get me home alive. I took it around the block, so I know at least they work, sort of. All right, bud. Well, they stop. I don't know if they stop it any better. I feel like they stop it better. I don't know. The bar was not set very high, I'll tell you that. Well, I'm cooking now, so hopefully when I come up to a stop, they actually work. Here comes the leap of faith. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, those work way better than they did before. Way better. Wow. Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better. I was like, man, I hope I just didn't do all that work for freaking them to stop exactly as good as they did before. I'll tell you, it feels like, I don't know, a little bumpy when I'm pulling on it. It definitely is working better, but I'm saying just when I'm applying the brake like a little harder. Ooh, well, it definitely stops a lot better. Wow. It just feels like there's a little shake in it when I really apply them hard. And I wonder if that is just that rotor that's on there, because the pads were used. So the pads were from a different rotor. That rotor probably isn't the best. So there's a lot going on there. I should probably get a new rotor and some new pads, and that would probably make a little bit of difference on this front end. So, but right now, even though it's got a little bit of shake to it, whoa, what a difference. What a difference. I'll tell you, for a total investment of about $120, and you know, for the brake line parts, because I did have to make the brake line longer, maybe like another $50, but under $200, that is an insanely huge brake upgrade. I mean, wow, really a big difference. It doesn't bounce around when you only lightly apply the brakes. It's only when you really haul on them can you actually feel that, I don't know if it's a warped rotor or what. If I was driving a car around and I felt that shake, I would think it was the rotors needed to be cut. But obviously you can't cut a motorcycle rotor, you just replace them. Anyway, if you've got a pre-99 Narrow Glide and you want to do this to your bike, like I said, with the brake line and the fittings and everything else, under $200 to do all this, which I think is it's a pretty nice upgrade, you know, and it really, really makes a big difference. If you have a pre-99, if you have these front brakes, especially this old style in the 80s, man, you know exactly how bad they are. I mean, before, it was really just, it almost didn't stop the bike. It just was not, it barely slowed it down. You could not completely bring the bike to a stop with the front brake almost. You had to use the front and the rear brake. And right now, I'm just on the way home just to get a feel for how they are. I'm not even using the rear brake at all, which is weird for me because I do a lot of dirt bike stuff, so I'm always on the rear brake. Man, and I think they're starting to, maybe they're seated now a little bit. They feel even better now than when I first started. Anyway, like I said, still kicking moto. I'll have a link down in the description. It worked okay for me. Like I said, the only weird thing was I had to take the wheel off in order to get those Allen bolts in the back to hold the bracket on. But other than that, really, really easy install. Besides rebuilding the calipers, which was also incredibly easy, you really don't even need any specialty tools to do it. Really, all you need is a pick and an air supply, if they're not connected to a bike, to get the pistons out, and you're set. And I picked out basically the cheapest ones I could find on eBay, so they were really gunked up. If you paid a little more, you could either get ones that had already been rebuilt. That way you wouldn't even have to rebuild them, because you do have to, even if they're nice, you have to rebuild them if they haven't been rebuilt, because you're using a different type of brake fluid in it. So far so good, baby. Feels good to be able to stop. Going's important. Stopping is importanter. Or just as important. Just as important. We'll go with that one. Till next time, y'all, when we return on the FXR, what is dead may never die. Keep it weird, y'all.